everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the presentation, Finding the Right Placement and Keeping UKVI Compliant. Today we are joined by two of our UEL staff. We have Eleanor Di Giorgi. She is a placement officer for the MBA program at the University of East London. And we have Jaya Liu, who works as the Senior Compliance Officer for the University of East London, and they are going to talk to you a bit more about placement and how to keep UKVI compliant. Just a few housekeeping things. At the very end of the presentation, we are going to have a question and answer session. So if you do have any questions, you don't have to keep them for the end. Please feel free to pop them in the chat box, which you should be able to access. Throughout the presentation, I will also be answering any questions remotely, so feel free to pop any questions in there. But for now, I'm going to pass you over to Eleanor, who's going to provide a little bit more information regarding placements. Thank you, Eleanor.
Thank you very much, Annabelle. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Elena, as Annabelle said. I'm part of the employer engagement team, and I particularly work with the MBA students, supporting them towards the placement year. So to start, I'm going to talk a little bit about industrial placement year. What's industrial placement year and what is the goal? So the industrial placement year is designed to prepare the students for working life and really challenges the students with new experiences. Some students may not have already experience working in professional settings, in management. So this is a really good first step towards your career goals, basically. The embedded industrial placement offers also the unique possibility to apply the skills you learned. It's a great learning experience and increase employability from your end. So when you will look for a job, you will have already a great experience in management. And it's also designed to address the demands of the profession. It also helps, let's say, to personal growth and soft skills, to increase your soft skills and cross-cultural learning. And the other really important thing, to increase your professional network, which is really important. What we offer, as I was saying, we have a dedicated employer engagement team available, which I am part of. And the employer engagement team role is to source placements and provide career support. How? We organize careers and networking events towards all the year, where the students can meet employers, great company, and can start building a good network for the future. We try to engage with really good company and to provide with really high quality placements for the students during the industrial placement year. We also have an online recruitment and employability platform called the Employment Hub. All the students have a profile on the Employment Hub, and this is also the place where we upload all the role sources that you could apply for during the placement year. This gives you a good chance to engage with good companies, and also to really have the option to choose between different job description and different roles, okay, and also to access a wide range of progressive companies. The other really important thing that we offer is a 12-week employability module, which is also mandatory, and it's designed to give the students the best opportunity to get into their careers and to access in the best way the workplace in the UK. So basically, we start usually try to build a bridge between the international home country of the students and the UK. So we offer a session about life in the UK and the culture shock, how to deal with changing settings, and how to deal with moving from home country to another country. For some students, it's the first time moving and living to a foreign country. So this is really important to address some doubts, queries, and questions that the students might have. Then we have sessions on CV, how to create an excellent CV and how to create an excellent cover letter, which is going to be really, really helpful towards the goal to find a good placement, because without a good CV and a good cover letter, it's going to be really hard to find a placement at all. And we have networking sessions and how to make excellent application, how to write a speculative application. We have a session about the consultancy project, and we run sessions about Employment Hub and how to use it, because it's also really important to learn how to use this great tool. Also, there is a dedicated placement officer, which I am, for every cohort. So for example, I work with January cohort. So this means that January cohort can come to me at any point, asking for one-to-one appointments, for queries, questions. They can contact me anytime if they have doubts, difficulties, anything connected to placement. Basically, we are here to help the students. The placement requirements. So, as I was saying, there is a mandatory 12-week employability module to attend if you want to access the placement. This is really important because they give you an insight on how the job market works in the UK and what do you need in order to have chances to source amazing placements and to find ultimately a great job and to start your dream career. The second thing is sourcing a placement. So UEL assists you and the team assists you in finding a placement, and also as a team we source good placements, great companies, great roles. But ultimately, it's the student's responsibility to source a valid placement. So even though we have roles, you keep always in mind that it's your responsibility at the end to provide us with the good placement you need, to send us all the details about your good placement. So you will not find necessarily in our in the roles we source the ones you would like. So you can go out and try and find your own placement, but ultimately it's your responsibility to source a valid placement. The criteria for progression to industrial placement is completing the tough modules, okay, and gaining 60 credits minimum. How does it work? So the industrial placement has a duration of 2 academic terms. So this means around 7 months and a half. You have to work at least 3 days per week, 21 hours. The placements are typically unpaid. So we have employers paying and covering for travel and lunches, but they are typically unpaid. Keep always in mind, this is part of university path, and all the benefits we talked about, great learning experience, increasing employability, improved skills and knowledge, and to apply all the skills that you've learned. These are the main points you have to keep in mind when you are looking for the industrial placement. Normally starts after you have undertaken the tough modules and the dissertation. How to find a good placement? So, what are the requirements for the placement in order to be accepted? So the placement must meet your learning objectives. So since you will be studying an MBA, your placement needs to have some element of managerial duties, needs to be aligned with the learning objectives, and needs to provide the student with exposure and experience of managing organization, okay? The other thing is the company needs to be registered and based in the UK. So it needs to be a proper company, registered with a headquarter, offices, premises, and all these kind of things. The employer has to register an Employment Hub and confirming your working hours. This is really important, and you're going to learn more about this in a minute, but this is really important. So if the employer is not willing to register and to work with us about their attendance, this can be a problem. What can you do? So in order to find the good placement, maybe the perfect placement for you, you need to be really proactive. So since you're coming to London to study, this means that you will have access to amazing companies based in here, and you can start looking for companies that you're interested in and try to understand if you would like to have a placement here there, if they would be willing to host you. So you can start looking for old companies you will be interested in. As I was saying, be proactive. You can attend careers fair and employability events on campus and outside. As I was saying, the team organizes lots of events, a lot of careers fair and employability events where the students are able to meet with the employers and to meet with great companies. But also, again, in London, there are great companies, and it's really important also to look around and to trying to build your own networking. Last but not least, ask for advice to the placement officers. Like, you have a team supporting you that at any point you can contact. At any point before the placement, at any point during the placement, anytime. You can book one-to-one appointments. You can send emails if you have queries, questions, if you're not sure about your CV, the cover letter, applications. There are lots of resources in the university. Also, there are career coaches that can support you with CVs, covering letters, applications, career planning. So the university has career coaches there to support you at any step of the way. And basically, the team is here to support you in finding the perfect placement. So the important thing is to keep in mind that there are different teams able to support you at any point. So it's really just a matter of how much you will contact the team and you will be willing to, engage with the team, because it's our job supporting you in the placement here and finding a great placement. As I was saying, the MBA placement team is dedicated to securing and supporting students through the placement. So keep this in mind always. Further support, as I mentioned, there are career coaches providing support with CVs, cover letters, interviews, workshops, one-to-ones, drop-ins. So in the career planning, anything connected to the career, any doubts, queries, or questions you might have. The employer engagement team is part of the Center for Student Success, also the Career Center, where the career coaches belong, and they organize careers event, careers fair, the employment hub, and all the things connected to careers and employability. And also we have academic tutors supporting with academic writing, math, and study skills for the academic side. So now I'm going to introduce you Gia, the Senior Compliance Officer, that is going to talk more about the placement, but from an immigration and compliance perspective. Okay, Gia?
Thank you, Elena. Hi, everyone. My name is Gia. I'm the Senior International Compliance Officer from the university. I'm very happy to join the webinar today and very happy to talk to you all. So when the university sponsors you to get your student visa, we were told by the UK government that it is not a right that we can take for granted, but a privilege to sponsor our international students. So both the university and our students have to work hard to make sure that we all meet relevant regulations so that we can continue to have you studying with us. So the compliance team, we are by no means here to try to catch you out. On the contrary, we want you to make the most of the study experience with us. And that is why we have to be very honest with you and to warn you when we are very close to lose you because you're not meeting the government policies. So it is very important that we work together to be legally compliant. And there are a number of things we can do before and during your placement to make sure you are compliant. And I have to say that the key is communication. So before the placement, please make sure that you do attend placement workshops and relevant events organized by my colleague Elena's team, the placement team, because they are able to support you throughout this process. And secondly, please make sure that you need to provide placement information as soon as possible, as soon as you find it, and definitely before the start of the term, so that the placement team can start their due diligence check and they will be able to let you know whether this placement meets the criteria or not. And do not start the placement before the completed and signed placement agreement form is returned to the university for your details to be reported to the UKVI, because your course has a placement included, and the UKVI, which is the UK Immigration Government Department, they need to know when you go on a placement, where do you work, and who is the contact person for your placement. Therefore, it's very important that we report this information accurately to the government and to make sure you can make the most of your placement. And during the placement, you do need to make sure that you engage fully with your placement and make sure that your employer send confirmation to the placement team or use the software that the placement team provided to confirm your attendance. Because you could be like working very hard with your employer, but without them confirming to us, we wouldn't know that. So we need something on the record from your employer to say, yes, the student is working very hard with us and we are on track of our placement. And lastly, if you have any problems or issues with your current placement or the placement that you have agreed to attend, please do not leave it because you think there is an issue. Please get in touch with the university's placement team to ask for support, to tell them what has happened. And you can only stop one placement when you have a new placement confirmed and we said, yes, you can go ahead. So that's basically a few very important things that you need to make sure you do during your placement. So that is for placement from an immigration compliance perspective. And I'll now hand it over to my colleague Annabelle onto the question section. Thank you.
Hi there. Thank you both so much for all the information. I'm sure our audience on the line found it really helpful. We've had a couple of questions come in. So the first one directed is to Eleanor. Eleanor, what happens if a student cannot find a placement?
This is a question that lots of students ask. Let's say that we offer all the support that a student needs to find a placement. So the support in making CV, in making a great cover letter, in sourcing placements as a team. So if a student is engaged and really come to us with concerns, with issues, we are going to support the student like at any point, anytime. The problem is if a student is not able to find a placement and also has never engaged with the team. So in this case, it's more complicated.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Eleanor, another question for you. Can you give a bit more information about what industry partners we have in the UK?
Yeah, we were now working with TfL in a consultancy project. And we have different kind of companies, really. Like we have startups, we have technology companies, well, quite a bit of technology companies working with us. And in general, all the companies are really great companies working with and are really interested in hosting students for a placement here.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And then for GA, we have a question directed to you. Can you give a bit more information about what are the most common mistakes made by Tier 4 students from a compliance perspective? What are the most common mistakes made when they apply for a placement?
So there are, we can't say it's a mistake, but we've seen a couple of instances where students need a bit of help in terms of their placement need to be compliant. For example, some of our students might not be very happy with their existing placement, and they think, well, I can't get like much more from this placement now. I'd better just stop it and try to find another placement. And during the time that they stop the previous placement and before they start the next placement, there will potentially be a gap in between, and it could be very dangerous for the for Tier 4 student, because that might impact their visas. So that's very important that we remind our Tier 4 students to always keep in touch with us. Don't just stop their placement like before getting a new one.
Thanks so much. And then the last question is for Eleanor. Eleanor, if a student is looking to source their own placement, what recommendations would you give them?
Oh, this is a really good question. Well, as Gia mentioned, we require the employer and the companies to have certain characteristics, like being registered and headquartered. Like, I'm not going into details, but basically, like the first thing is to make sure that the company is compliant with what we request. The second thing is, it's really good if you look for companies to try to send speculative applications to see if they're willing to host a student on placement here. Because sometimes, like some companies already host students, some companies maybe they didn't have any chance to host students. So this is really good to be proactive and to try to understand if the company you're interested in would like to host a student on placement. I think that both doing the placement here in big companies or small companies have great and different opportunities from different perspectives. So small companies, they're smaller, maybe easier to get on and to get to know the colleagues because there are not so many. Bigger company, they're big with a really complex organization. So I think both opportunities are great, and it really depends on goals, career goals, and tastes of every student, I would say. But if I can add something, usually when the students source their own placement, that at any point again, they can come to us saying, I think I would love to do my placement here with this company. Can we check it together? If it's okay, what do you think I should do? And again, the placement officers can really help you in understanding if this is the best company for you, and if an acceptable company from a compliance point of view, and these kind of things.
Thank you so much, Eleanor, and thank you both so much for such an insightful presentation, and I'm sure our attendees found it very useful as well. That concludes all the questions that we've had for this particular presentation. So I just want to end by encouraging all our attendees on the line. We have a series of webinars that will be lasting until August, September time. So please keep a lookout for our emails, and we will update you as to what webinars will be taking place each week. But for now, it's a goodbye from us, and we hope you have a good rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.